lights.
Bulb.
Bulb lights.
Christmas bulb.
Headbands.
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 And
You
I am
can't
not
hear
blinking,
me.
but you're blinking. I like you. I like
you
you
have
blinking.
to just push your button.
Okay.
And the selfie I took just takes it all. It's my energy.
We'll post that one.
Yes.
Happy
absolutely.
Thursday. Welcome to another Thursday.
Yes, we're only days away to Christmas.
I know. Are you amped?
Yes. I'm pretty much ready. I'm kind of ready. I have a little bit here and there. And I have to run by Target when we leave here because I have to get wrapping paper. So the problem is, I was asking you yesterday.
And then we're like, don't tell me.
Yes. I was like, is your wrapping paper color coordinated?
No.
Why?
At one point in the scheme of Christmas, there was the, gold and red year or green and gold year or red and green year. And they were all the same. There was that.
Yes.
But then wrapping paper lasts from year to year and you're trying to find the right. They started giving you less wrapping paper per roll.
Yes.
And it turned into, I could find the wrapping paper. And remember, I didn't do a lot of gifts.
True.
Because we were trying to do experiences. And then I just decided one year, I like the paper. So if I like this paper, I'm getting this paper.
Yes.
But what I do, I'm terrible at getting the tags.
Oh, me too.
So what I do is if someone's, like my nephews, okay, Tommy is all green paper with white polar bears.
Yes.
And Robbie is red paper with penguins. And now that's how I'm like.
That's perfect.
I forgot the tags. And then I buy the tags when I finally find them.
Sharpies work great.
But then I've hidden the tags, and then I find them at Easter when I've got something else going on.
It's
like
also
Easter
like
baskets.
it's also like the little hooks on the Christmas
Yes.
tree. I'm like, I always buy them, and then I'm like, where are they?
Right.
Then you tear the house apart, and it's not in the Tupperware with the
And they
ornaments
find
are.
them January 12th.
Well, so the reason we picked out. So Kayla and I have picked out our. I don't know. I like them matching.
Of course.
And I love them color coordinated. And we picked out like a black wrapping paper with little green trees on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did pinstripe, red and white.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have one that has like, it's a white background with like the little red truck and the Christmas tree on it. And the tires are black. So you've got like these little touches of black and you've got touches of green and red. And then we've got a green one that says Merry Christmas in white on it. And so they're all color coordinated. And like the red and white ones, I have a black ribbon around it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so cute. It reminds me of Santa. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, no, there was one time where that was really important, and then that importance fell off the radar as life gets more and more awful and complicated.
I was so proud of myself this year, too, because I bought tags. And then Kayla's got the Sharpie. So I do have like a silver Sharpie, or we have in the black, writing the black on the red and white paper looks really cute, too. So I kind of I did her name in one line, and then I did Merry Christmas, and then I did I Love You, and then I did Kate. It's just cute.
Yeah.
So you can decorate it. But anyway, I'm like, I looked yesterday. I went to a couple of stores on my way home, and I'm like, all right, I got to get some wrapping paper, and they've got to match. And then I'm like, oh, that's the problem. Now I have to go to Target.
Yeah, because you have to search for the
Yes.
matching wrapping paper.
And we're rollerblading afterwards, so I'm like, I'm not going to backtrack afterwards because I've got somewhere to be. So I'm like, all right, I got to stop. I got to stop before.
Yeah.
And I hate going in there, especially the closer it gets to Christmas. It's like everybody's standing in line, and I always get batteries at the dollar store because we go through batteries. And I'm not paying like $9 for 6 batteries when I need like 80.
700.
Yes. Yes. I got 3 packs of like 8 yesterday, and I only had enough to replace. I kept thinking, oh, this is going to be this will be plenty. I'll have some left over. No, all the AAA batteries are used up on my front porch.
Yeah, because you have those little lights.
Yes, I have I have the little candles, and
Candles.
I love to let them. I love to, I don't have to worry about a fire. I like the way I like the way they flicker.
Yeah, and now you're out batteries. Now you're gonna.
Now I got to go again, but like 3 times. There's one there's like a Dollar Tree down in Milford.
So do the Dollar Tree store batteries last less long than, or are they Energizer?
Well, right now they do have Energizer or Duracell or something, and they charge a little bit more for those because it's really not a dollar store anymore. I think everything is in there $1.25.
Okay.
And then they have some other stuff, like batteries are like 3 or 5. Anyway, I think they last as long.
Okay.
So I don't, if I have to replace them, I don't think they last any longer because I actually just did Duracell. I just replaced the ones outside and they were Duracell in there. And I'm like, these didn't last very long.
Mm.
So they're in Scotch tape. That's what that's what the dollar store is good for.
Yeah. And
in reading glasses.
And reading glasses, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because I go through them. Like used to have a nice pair, and then all of a sudden, it breaks, and then it's done.
I'm done with the nice, expensive readers because I bought these beautiful Tiffany frames, and the woman convinced me, this was just before COVID, the woman convinced me to do bifocal. She's like, because you only use them for reading, so you have to keep taking them on and off. And I said, I do. And she said, well, let's do the bifocal. So I went to them and said the bifocal's not working because I have to line up when I'm reading. Everything is blurry but one line of writing. And she's like, yeah, you're just going to have to get used to that. I'm like, I don't like it. I don't want to get used to it. And she said, well, it's so different. Give it whatever. And then COVID shut it down. And then when they finally opened their stores again, they go, yeah, it's 90 days past when you bought them, so there's no way we can change them. You would have to buy them again. And I'm like, well, I have the frames, just change out the thing. They go, we can't do that. And I'm like,
oh, that's so ridiculous.
What?
Yeah.
So that was my end of Lens Crafters. Yeah.
But they were shut down. So if they were shut down, it should be because
I know.
I can't control
And these were like probably $700 frames.
Yeah.
Because they were gorgeous. They were tortoiseshell. They were Tiffany brand. But I thought I'm going to have these, these are going to be my glasses. And after that, I was like, $25. I have 100 pairs. I break them. They match things. They don't match things.
After I got LASIK, and I hated spending them because when I had I wore contacts and glasses, and it's $500 for a pair of glasses, and then it's another couple $100 for your contact lenses, and I'm like, by the time you're said and done, and I'd always get the a name brand, oh, I love these shades, I love these Prada or whatever it is, or Versace, and they're no different. No. They're no different than they look the same.
Right. It's not like, oh my God, she looks amazing in those glasses when I have the other glasses on.
Yeah, right.
I look like I'm wearing glasses.
Right.
And I don't look good in glasses. I don't even think I look that good in sunglasses. It's very hard for me to find sunglasses that
I do.
I feel like no shape fits my face.
Oh, I do. I love sunglasses.
Oh, I love them. I have 10 pairs, but I don't think I look good in them.
Oh, I don't know. I think you look good in sunglasses, but now I'm trying to think, when was the last time I saw you wearing sunglasses?
Because I hardly ever wear them.
Did you wear them in Florida?
Yes.
Like, do I have a picture of you in sunglasses?
Yeah, you do.
I gotta have a picture of you in sunglasses.
Yes, you do.
So I, for years of wearing glasses, behind my ears, they have to be light. I love those Maui. I have Maui Jims that are it's just tiny. Tiny. They're so light. And I can't, I don't feel like they're on my face. So I'm at the point where I don't care if they look good.
Yeah. You just want them to be comfortable.
And after LASIK, my eyes have gotten more sensitive, I think, to the light. So, because sometimes I'm like, I kind of need them. And I'm like, I realize I'm squinting. Then I put them on. I'm like, I don't really want it obstructed. They're pretty clear.
In the sun, I tend not to wear them too much because I don't want the ring around my eyes.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly like, if I put them on, I'll take them off an hour later just because I don't want the lines on the side.
Raccoon.
Yeah, raccoon eyes. I don't want those. Not that we're going to have them in this weather up here.
Well, yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was beautiful. Today seemed like it was going to start off pretty beautiful.
I know.
Now I'm looking out the window. I'm not sure.
I know. I don't even know what the weather's going to be today.
We'll figure it out when it comes here because they don't know. That's my theory. They don't know.
They don't.
You know how I feel about that.
Yes, it's like a pilot.
Yes.
It's only good for 5 miles.
Yeah. After that, you're on your own. So we are talking today a little bit about...
Oh, what are we talking about?
We are talking about how I hate the word life balance.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I hate that concept. I hate that idea.
Yes.
And then when you come into the end of the year, it's like, how could we possibly balance anything?
Yeah.
And then I think it doesn't even make sense because there's nothing, everything doesn't have the same weight of priority. And so I think all these years people have been pushing balance, work-life balance, and it's just not possible.
Well, I think balance to me means equal.
Yes. And I don't think anything's
And you
equal.
can't equal. Like it's nothing. It's nothing is equal. I mean, yeah. Trying to balance, you're just not going to have it. That's why I like using harmony,
Mm-hmm.
because harmony is different notes and it's fluid. They all flow together.
And everything's playing well together.
Yes.
Like a beautiful song.
Yes.
It's a harmony.
Yes.
And I do like that word, but I think I'm going to hold priority.
I like priority. I was getting ready to write that down.
Because I think, we're coming into the end of the year. You've got holidays, you've got family, you've got friends, you've got social commitments, you've got work. I just saw a great meme where it shows like this person just standing there, and it's like, what are you doing between now and the end of the year? And the person's just standing there. I'm waiting for January 7th or whatever it was. And it does feel like there's just so much to pile on.
Yeah.
When you're adding in, and then people start asking me if I'm having any New Year's resolutions. No,
No, we don't start this till spring.
no, we don't do anything new until April. Because the energy is just not right. We're.
Well, I think I read something too about like if you're balancing, like if you're in vibrational, trying to be in a vibrational balance with, the universe. Then spring, it's a rebirth,
Yes.
and so
the
that's
time
what we should be
everything's
talking
growing.
about, being
Yeah.
a rebirth. And yeah, I actually was reading something. I think I screenshotted it about the holidays. Like just causing the stress, talking about priorities, and especially like Christmas time, and everybody's scrambling to get gifts. It says a 2023 survey by the American Psychological Association found that 89% of US adults feel stress during the holiday season, at 41% reporting higher stress levels compared to other times of the year. Stress can lead to physical illness, depression, anxiety, and substance misuse. So it's kind of talking about if we go into, a dry January,
Mm-hmm.
and just, thinking about what holidays actually uncover.
Right.
Because we are kind of talking about balance, and, we try to,
Trying to squeeze in so much more.
well, and it's at the end of the year, and everybody's years are closing out, the fiscal year's closing out, or
The calendar year's
yes,
closing
yes,
out. The
taxes are-
holiday seasons,
yes.
taxes are going to be, everyone's getting their tax stuff ready.
So everything's coming down to the pike, and you think
Yeah.
about people that are like, entrepreneurs, business people that are in the trades, that we spend so much time in anxiety and pressure. And I was actually thinking about it, in the economy and in the world right now. Is everything being, just the real estate's weird, the real estate market is weird, buying, selling, even in the trades, construction is weird right now, remodeling is,
Well, I like to talk about things in seasons.
yeah.
And I don't mean winter, spring, fall seasons. I mean, when people go back to school, it's not only the children going back to school, it's the parents having to adjust the children and themselves to a new routine.
Oh, I hated that.
And then when you come into different, and that's what I think of when your kids finally are out of school, you're in a new season.
yes.
Because now, and then when your kids
Yes.
go off to college or leave the house, that's a new season. So seasons are a month, they're a year, they're a quarter. Like they could
Yes.
be anything.
semester.
But I like to think of
Yeah.
things in rhythms and routines and seasons, because I can say, okay, this season might be 1 month, the season might be 6 months, like this next thing that I have
Yes.
going on.
Yes.
But right now, I have a couple of things going on in real estate, and I just had someone call me this morning and say, something's been on the market a week. And they're like, can you shed insight as to why this has been on a week? And, you don't want to sound condescending when you say this, but it's Christmas.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. People have a lot to do going on. I actually, and on this particular condo, it's in Nashua. It's a 1-bedroom. It's $217,000.
Ooh.
Very affordable, off of exit 1. And I've had 3 people say they were writing offers. One person even said, write this offer and I'll sign it. That person is like disappeared. It's just the sound of like the wind over a desert.
Got ghosted.
I got ghosted. Like, and then, and then you feel creepy because this wasn't a client of mine. This was someone who called to see the unit, doesn't want to have their own, was like, I'll just have you represent me.
Yeah.
Write it up full price and I'll sign it. And then no phone call, no email, no text response, no response by signing it. And then you feel sort of creepy because you don't have a relationship with this person of like, hey, did I insult you on your date? Or don't you think I'm pretty? Like, why aren't you signing the offer you told me to write? Like, why not just say, I'm sorry, I'm not ready right now.
Or you just I changed my mind.
I changed my mind. I talked to my lender. I'm going to wait. But I did talk to an agent yesterday on a different property. And I said, she said something about it. And I said, yeah, a person did call me and say, my lender said to wait 6 months. The interest rate's going down. And my flippant response is, okay, Nostradamus. Like, lenders have been saying this whole entire year that interest rates were going down. All I heard all year were interest rates going down, right?
Yes,
so
I remember that.
And then I had to hold my tongue. Don't say that. Keep that contained. Don't say that. And then,
but the way they come in, it's like, hey, I'm this big, I'm big,
like
bad,
the Nostradamus. Like they're sitting there with a robe and they've got lightning and they're like, I predict. And then you're like, okay, 50-50. It happens or it doesn't, 50-50.
But it's the same. It goes back to that whole thing, like being courteous. I think that goes under the umbrella of charming.
Yes, courteous and charming, very close together.
And I think that, we lose that. We've lost social skills.
And then you add in the holidays. So when the person said, why do you think this is still in the market? I'm like, I think it's Christmas, and I think people are otherwise engaged in other priorities, other activities. Yeah. I'm not panicked that a condo, and because it's so cheap.
Yeah.
You would think, oh my God, how could it possibly? And that's the logical part. It's so cheap. How come it's not gone? It's like, well, because people are getting their Christmas wrapping paper. They're picking up their kids from college. Their kids are home from college.
Yes.
Other, kids they're trying to get through the holidays, whatever holiday they celebrate.
Yes.
And it's just funny that I would have to explain why something would be on the market for a week or so. Yeah.
I remember the first time we sold our house. It's the first time we built our house, so it was the first time I'd ever had any experience selling a house, and it was, this lady wrote it up, and we didn't really have any knowledge of it, but she wanted to put it under contract, but then they had to get their financing squared away. Anyway, it was under contract for 120 days. Literally, and it just they were not meeting the deadlines. I don't even remember all the details. We couldn't back out of it. I ended up calling another realtor because ours was not showing up, and we were past. We had to renew and I'm like, no, we're not. And we sold it at 2 weeks. In that, back then, even the 2 weeks was like, wow, that was fast.
Yeah.
I mean, because it would sit, houses, like, we forget that houses used to sit for like a month or 2 months or 3 months or,
And they forget that the election, people wanted to see what was going to happen with the election.
Yeah.
People are listening to the fact that every lender I've talked to says that rates are going to drop.
Yeah.
But almost every lender I talked to in 2024 also said first quarter.
Yeah.
I remember one bank told me we put all our eggs in the basket that by first quarter we were going to have this huge refinance business because rates dropped and they didn't drop. And so all of that marketing money, all of that stuff we spent, zero came back on it. So, people are told to wait. Well, why would I pay 7% or 6.5% when I can pay 5%?
Right.
I'm not going to buy it and then refinance in 6 months. So I'll just wait. And maybe that behooves you. Maybe it behooves you. Maybe the interest rates do go down. But what we also need, the prices and the cost of living is just exponentially too high.
Yeah.
Everything's just too high. Something has to go.
Well, gosh, even wrapping paper, it's $7 for, 50 square feet.
Yeah.
It used to be like $3 for 50 square feet.
Yeah.
And
So I think everyone's I also think sometimes there's just an element of, I'm just not paying more. I'm just
right.
not doing it. I'm not, and this is when I was when we were talking a little bit earlier about you have to take on more. At some point, I'm either going to break. If I take on too much, I'm going to break. I'm
Right.
not a donkey that you're just putting another layer.
Well,
but
the
at some
thing is
point,
we
you have the
pile
straw
on.
that breaks your back.
Right.
And, so people are saying, I'll wait. Like, I don't need to do something right at this moment.
But then if it's gone, it's gone.
It's
So I
gone,
mean, you have
yeah.
to take your chances. Like,
Yeah.
do you love it that much? Like, I with our house, I wouldn't. I don't know that I would have done it at 8% or 9%. But if you love something and you don't want to risk if you want it,
Mm-hmm.
then you should move on it. But
And if you can financially,
right,
sometimes stretching is a good thing.
yes.
And sometimes
Because
stretching
if rates
is a bad
do
thing.
drop, like if you really want it, rates do drop, then maybe you can, counter in there in your loan and, to do a refi.
There are things called buy downs where you can have the seller contribute instead of closing costs to buying down your rate.
Yes.
There is a thing called a buy down. And I was talking to some lender, it was up to 2 points,
Oh, wow.
which I was like, oh my God, we should advertise this everywhere. And I'm like, do you want to do a marketing thing so that we can put this out? And they're like, we don't pay for marketing. I'm like, okay. How are we getting this amazing program out there
Yeah.
if we're not paying to market it out
Right.
there? But okay, you're just telling all the realtors, okay, we'll tell them.
Right.
But like there's when you work with professionals, the benefit of working with professionals is they have a lot of knowledge. And, people say it negatively, oh, you get paid on commission. Yeah, I'm only getting paid if this closes.
Right.
So we can practice an escrow,
Right.
but if you don't close, I worked all of that for free.
Yes.
It cost me to go
Right.
to work. So we want this to
It
close.
cost me 6 months of not
Gas,
making
time,
any money.
yeah. Advertising, everything.
Marketing.
Yeah. So when you want to work with a really good professional who's creative about problem solving, who has information about the industry and all of that, but I get off on a real estate tangent. Sorry. Everything's weird, you said. Everything's weird. Everything's in a weird time. And I also think I know this about the real estate industry. I know it about my life, but things happen organically. And
Yeah.
it's never you can't, as much as we want control and to predict the future, we can't.
Yes.
So, and I'm not a go with the flow person by personality. I'm not a go with the flower.
No, not by nature. I'm not.
I am directing the car to where I want it to go. I'm not letting the roller coaster take me wherever.
I'm going to orchestrate this.
I am going to drag on the side of the roller coaster so the weight of my body pulls it to the left. I'll tell you that much right now.
Well, and it's hard to have balance. I wouldn't say balance, but
Yeah.
it's hard to have harmony when you have two, or when you, or even not even just two people, but when you have strong-minded people that are go-getters, or that are going to take. What would you do? I don't know if that would necessarily be type A personalities. But people that are I feel like I'm AAA type. Organize. When you have two people that are like that, or you have a unit or a group or your coworkers, that are both driven to hey, I'm going to organize my day, or I set it up to be what's the most efficient. What's the most efficient, the least amount? What can I get the most for doing the least amount of? How do I do it? So tonight I'm making a big Mexican spread at home. I'm like, shoot. In the middle of me dressing this morning, I'm like, oh, I gotta run downstairs and make salsa. I was making salsa. Because I'm front loading. Well, you had called and said, hey, do you want to rollerblade afterwards? And I'm like, okay. So here I'm planning my day. I'm organizing, and I'm like, I've said it before. If we stop and think about the things that we do in our life, that creates that helps us. One of the tools that helps create harmony is if you plan, budget, and forecast. And if you apply those for all things in your life runs so much more efficiently.
And plan Bs and plan Cs.
Yes.
Because I do think for all our forecasting and planning, nothing ever goes to plan.
Right.
Like God laughs at
Well,
plans.
so I kind of feel like when you have a backup plan, that is kind of forecasting.
Yes.
What is your possible outcome could be?
Yes.
And then once you have that in place, like we were talking yesterday, once you have a backup plan in place, then you feel like you can coast a little bit.
Yes.
So that is harmony. That is creating that, sliding that balance is what we would feel like replacing that word. We've prioritized. We've come up with a plan. We have a backup plan. And now we don't have to be as stressed.
Right. We give ourselves room for things to play out.
Yes.
Well, and when I think of balance and that word, I think of yoga all the time because you're constantly you're constantly trying to maintain balance in the poses
Right.
and move balance between. But I think if you've ever taken a yoga class and you're in mountain pose, which is standing upright,
Right.
basically, you're like, how much micro adjustments does my body make trying to stand still?
Yeah.
Stillness is really hard.
Yes.
And sometimes,
Especially on rollerblades.
yes, on asphalt.
Talking to Joey, and I'm like, my feet are cramping, man. I'm getting a workout just standing here, trying to balance.
And I think that, and it's all these micro adjustments. And when people come into the new year and they think they have to make all these changes, I say, unless your life needs a major overhaul. And if it does, concentrate on one major change at
Right.
a time. Because when you try to change everything, nothing ends up happening. It's
Well, you don't
more
have to
chaotic.
change everything. Like, you don't have to make big changes. Like we
Some
said.
people need to change some things.
Yes.
Some people need to change everything.
A lot. A lot.
And it comes out on the holidays when some of these fights come out.
Can we just send you back and get a new model?
Can I turn it off and reboot it? Can I
The
restart
sticky
it?
note on their back. Like, they need this, 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 and this. They need compassion. They need grace. They need gratitude. They need passion.
They need to know when to keep their mouth closed and when
Yes.
to open it.
Can you get rid of that rude and bring in
Tone.
joy?
Can we get rid of the tone?
Yeah. And the snarl?
And the face. Get rid of the face. That frowny face.
Yes. Turn that frown upside down. Well, it is about prioritizing, balancing. And you also think about it, we get so caught up in the stress of it. We get in the chaos of it.
Well, it's having to do things, I also think. Do you really have to? If you don't want to buy presents, don't buy
Right.
presents. Do come up with, there are a ton of other things.
Bake cookies, make something, write a note, write a heartfelt note
Say,
on some.
instead of presents this season, I am giving myself the gift of peace and contentment. I
Yes.
suggest you do the same.
Yes.
And again, you're talking to a person who presents aren't my love language.
Yeah.
So it's easy for me to say this.
But I think too, yeah. In some people some people their language is gifts.
Yeah, that token. But it doesn't have to be expensive gifts, and for some people, yes, it has to be expensive gifts for them to feel happy and loved. But
I don't get that. I mean, I like nice stuff, but I'm not going to be disappointed if I don't get my Ferragamos or my Versace bag or Louis Vuitton or anything like that.
and it's so
I
funny.
won't have a temper tantrum.
Yeah, it's really funny. I was thinking, I'm a brand person when it comes to, is this a good quality thing?
Yeah.
And do I like it? Do they stand by their product? I'm a Dooney and Bork bag person. I have my first
That
gift.
was my first designer bag.
Yes, that was my first designer bag from John back almost 30 years ago. And it's still in rotation.
Yes.
I still have it. It could be cleaned. It's real leather. But over the years, I get that bag. And if anything happens to that bag, you put it in a box
Yes.
with your address and you tell them what's wrong with the bag. You mail it to their location and they mail it back to you, no cost to you.
Yeah.
The cost of shipping it to them is the only cost there is to this bag. So I've hey, the stitching's coming out here because I've owned it for
Yes.
11 years.
Yeah.
Or the zipper finally broke on this because I've owned it for 5 years and used it.
Yes.
And so that kind of branding I like. But I remember, was it Jimmy Choo shoes? Everybody's like, Jimmy Choo shoes. And I went into the store, it was $1,200. I'm like, they look like the $90 ones.
Yes.
They don't. And then I had
Well, that is
put
you're
them on.
specifically paying, and that's why I like Louboutins because it is the red bottom.
Yep.
And I like the idea of it's subtle, and if you know, you know, kind of a thing.
Yes, if you know, you know. But are they comfortable?
No.
Can you walk in them all
Well,
day?
the ones that I have, no. Those are, you show up, you put them on, and they're like they're your sitting shoes.
Yeah.
You can walk in those.
Take your picture, take them off.
But so I think I sent a video of them. The ones I tried on, they had these big ostrich feathers on the toe of them.
Mm-hmm.
Those were
comfy.
wicked comfortable.
Okay.
But I'm like, when do you wear these? You can't wear them outside and then the ostrich feathers are so long. I could see you pulling them all out. And I'm like, like
the cat's going to attack you.
like a
For
bald
sure.
ostrich. It's like alopecia. What happened to your shoes?
But yeah.
So to me, that's not worth $900.
Yeah, but like when you name all these things, I was like, what name brand thing do I'm like, oh, I want whatever. And I just want quality, but I also like value.
Yes.
So I think some of the restaurants that I like the most are the ones that are not break the bank. The food is really good.
Yes.
And I also like that personalized attention. Like, don't ask me. I come in here, twice a week. Don't ask me if I have a gluten intolerance.
Right.
Or, I want to be remembered. I want to be known.
Yes.
We go to places like Takumi.
Yes.
Right? We have Bill who knows us at Takumi.
Yes.
And, you're taken care of because they know you.
Yes, he knows how we're going to start. He comes, he sees us, and he's already making,
excellent sushi for a good price. You don't have to walk out of there breaking the bank to get good sushi.
Yes.
And so I think there is that part of me that always just wants it to feel like a good value.
I want to go out to dinner and have that experience everywhere I go.
Yes, and it doesn't happen.
No.
So it's funny, a few years ago when we were in the depths of COVID, John said, what do you want for your birthday? And I said, I just want to go to Takumi. And he goes, but we always go there. And I'm like, I know, and I always have a good time. And I don't want to be aggravated. Because the rest of COVID life was aggravating that I was like, I can't take aggravation on my birthday. So I just can only go here.
Yes.
This is all I can do.
Well, but that even goes like customer service, So I've been into, I go to Marshall's, TJ Maxx, Home Goods. They've actually got some great deals. Like I just got this, it's now like snail mucus, putting snail mucus in lotion is supposed to be great for your face. So, I was like, it's $7.99. I'll buy in. I'll try it.
Is it snail snot?
I don't know. It says snail mucus
or is it the
something.
Snail as they're walking and they leave the
that
snail
might be
behind?
Snail trail.
The snail trail. I have a couple of dirty jokes with
I
that
was
one.
just thinking I'm not going there. But anyway, like this snail mucus is now like this big thing. So I picked it up, and my son got some foaming wash on it, and he's like looking at it. Hey, he's like, this one's got like 70% snail mucus. And this one only's got 50, and he's like, I'm going with a 70. And I'm like, all right, you try that one, I'll try this one. And he was actually looking it up online. So it's $7.99 at Marshall's, and it's like $29 online.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it's a no-brainer. It's the same brand,
Right.
But my beef with them, like talking about customer service, they are super polite to you at the checkout counter until they ask you for the card. Like, do you want to sign up for our rewards program? It's blah, 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 and how many points? And I'm like, no, thank you. And then they don't even say anything. Like, I listened to the lady in front of me. She got a Merry Christmas. Have a great
Don't you think
happy
that
holidays.
some corporate wide, if they don't get enough, they're getting in trouble?
Well, they might have incentives, like a kickback to them. Like I know American Eagle does it, but American Eagle's cool about it. They don't pressure you. It's like if you do, you don't, and being nice about it.
Do you remember when you could check out and you just checked out?
Yes.
Remember, it was a long time
Would
ago.
you like to donate to this? Would you like to donate to this? Would you like to donate to our charity? And like Hollister was one of the first ones to
do you have
do
your
it.
reward number? Do you have the
Do
thing?
you want to round up?
Yeah,
and I was
no.
doing it for a while, and I'm like, no. And then they'll ask you, do you want to feed the starving children? No.
You know what
And
I
I
do?
feel like an ass, but I'm at the same time, I'm like, I do that on my own.
Right. I don't. And the thing is, don't use my money to prop up yourself
Right.
in some virtual
Right.
signaling. If you want to donate, you take your corporate America money and you go donate. You don't take my money and then say,
Right.
hey, look how much money we donated.
Right.
And that's the part that I don't think people understand. But it's really funny. Every time someone asks me what charity, do you want to donate to this charity? I talk about the charities I donate to.
Right. And then, I stopped doing it. And I feel guilty when the guy's ringing the bell for the Salvation Army. But if you actually look at how much the Salvation Army donates to this thing, it's not a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
Or that might be wrong, but they do these things of places to donate,
Yes.
all these big charities, United Way and all this stuff. It goes more to the corporate people paying for running it than it actually goes to people that you're serving.
Yeah.
And so no, I'd rather do my giving on a local level.
Yeah. So I do Make-A-Wish and I do
Well,
Kill Him Bear Center and I do the Humane Society.
Well, and the Toys for Tots, that's a good
that's
one.
a good one.
Like
Yes.
that's a good one. And it's not like you're not taking money and like the Angel Tree, or you're donating to, I think there's a share program down in Milford that's for, people that can't afford, and or you can buy jackets, or you can do a money donation, but it's going directly to the community. And I'm like, so I don't want to, no, I am not donating on a corporate level.
Mm-hmm.
But then so once you don't, you say no to like the starving kids, and you say no to their rewards program. Like you're like chopped
And no,
liver
you
to
will
them.
not open up a new TJ Maxx card.
I know, and I'm like, I don't want to be that person, but I'm like, I don't want my shopping experience ruined. Like I don't want to have anxiety standing in line, knowing that you're going to be rude to me if I say no.
Mm-hmm.
I have an Amex; it gets 5 times the points. I don't need your 1%. I don't. I have 5. Leave me alone. And tell me Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I don't know. Are they allowed to say that now? It's so. Talking about a whole nother thing. This time of year, I don't know why I think about it all the time, but I think about forgiveness.
Yes.
I think about forgiveness a lot, and I've been thinking of this idea that forgiveness is not a secular word. It has a lot of religious connotations.
Yeah.
Instead of it being a secular word.
Yeah.
Because everybody needs forgiveness in their life. Everybody.
Yes. In everybody, it's not about, and what I'm learning about me is forgiveness is really not about that. It is making amends. It is about making amends to the other person, but it's such a freeing tool for yourself to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
You're not holding on to that baggage. And I think that like right now, it's 89% of Americans are more stressed during the holidays, and the anxiety. It's still some of those things, like what are those things are we piling on, or what are the things that we're holding on to that we can and I think forgiveness should be a part of that stuff, because forgiveness is about letting go. I'm not going to hold that anymore. And what are we holding that doesn't serve us? And we can we don't have to make drastic changes. Like you were talking about prioritizing. I mean, even something simple as getting a piece of paper and just writing it down. What are the most important things in my life? What are the most important things about today that I have to accomplish? And let the other stuff go. Just let it,
Yeah. And we could talk about it the second hour, because I know it'll be a chunky topic, but the more you're doing that you don't want to do, the more you'll be upset.
Yes.
And then resentment builds, and then you're angry at someone, and then you're having to go through the effort and energy of figuring out forgiveness, because sometimes you just need to say no.
Yeah. But that resistance right there, that's an indicator right there. If you're feeling resistance, that's an indicator right there that is something inside of you that needs to deal with this.
I know, but some people just have resistance because they don't want to do anything.
Yes, there's a lot of people that just say no right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, will you try this? No.
Right. And even though I'm not that person, I can respect that, but I cannot respect if the no is just always a no without evaluating. I understand you don't want to be talked into the timeshare.
Right.
No, I don't want the timeshare program. I get it. But if your answers are always, and I guess for some people, someone might argue with me and say, well, no, I have really good boundaries if my no is a no. And it's like, but if you're saying no to everything, then you're not open to anything.
Yes.
And sometimes, you're not allowing yourself time and space to have a different experience.
Yes.
You know, but at
Being
the same
open.
time, my personality is very open. I'm always open to new experiences.
Yes.
But that doesn't always serve me well because sometimes new isn't better.
I'm open, but I also well, I think we talked about this once
Yeah.
before. Like I'm open. In my head I'm open, but how I respond is like, well, I'll dip my toe in.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take a nibble. I'll taste it first.
Yeah. I think you're open to experiences and adventure.
Because I feel like if you were yes.
But I don't think you're necessarily because you can interpret open a number of ways. And open could be like, I'm opening my life or my circumstances to you. I'm opening.
You're opening your circle.
Yes. Or you're
Your
opening you're opening your feelings to somebody, you're opening your, your inner life to somebody, and then that's not, you don't just do that to everybody. There needs to be a discrimination process for that.
yes.
So I do agree that open in all regards isn't necessarily just good.
To practice some discernment.
Discernment, yes.
Discernment. Yes.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
Although today everybody would call it discrimination, but it's not. It's discernment.
Yes. Selective.
Not everyone should have access to you.
Yes. But people think that they have access to you. And we do allow space. Like even just when clients will call after a certain time, like there's no regard for, hey, I'm going to text my realtor at 11:30 at night.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's a boundary that you should not cross.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you have access to somebody does not mean that you should, you should practice discernment.
Mm-hmm.
And like people will call and say, hey, I have an emergency. There's no power in my bathroom. Well, you don't have any walls in your bathroom either, or a toilet, or a sink. It's like, is it going to affect the rest of my house? No, it's not going to. No, but the people will call, like clients will call on a Sunday and like, hey, did you do this? Did you do this? And, Chris has one time said, I'm with my family and I'm having breakfast. And he's like, who eats breakfast at 10:30 in the morning? And
On a Sunday.
You should be working on Sunday. And I'm like, well, my wife likes to do a late breakfast, so she only has to do 2 meals a day for everybody.
On Sundays. That's her break.
Yes.
That's my wife's break.
If I do it late enough, then you don't need lunch.
Right.
See?
Very smart. Very efficient.
Efficiency.
Very efficient. I like it. What am I doing getting up at?
My family might not like it, but
Right.
here we go.
Yeah.
They sleep later, but then I have set their circadian rhythm for the weekend. I've had a little influence.
Yes.
That's why I say, like, there's, strong type personalities, can butt heads if you're not allowing, like, if you're trying to create balance instead of creating harmony. And so to me, like, creating harmony, if somebody said, well, how would you create harmony instead of balance? To me, balance is like in a relationship, it means that you're both taking on equal amounts of work. No, it means to me finding harmony is you're delegating or you're picking tasks where you're stronger in one and the other person is stronger in one. So
right. I don't want to hear you play your violin if you don't know how to play a violin.
Right. Now you're complementing each other.
Yes.
Now you're complementing each other.
Yes.
That's not balancing. Well, you did this and you did that, so I got to go do 5 things over here. No, that's not what you're talking about. That's, that's to me. Oh, I lost my word.
Yeah. No, and I do think the idea of relationships specifically is equal.
Yes.
Right? And of course we want equality in our relationships. However, I unload the dishwasher 3 times, you have to unload it 3 times. So we're doing equal amounts of work, or
Yes.
I don't know that works in the reality of life. I don't know, and I know that it wouldn't work in my life. But I
Yes.
know how some people are. If I do this, then you have to do this. If I'm doing this, then you have to do that. And if then statements really bother me in the logic of things.
I think that you should make. So somebody said,
And I don't know why.
Somebody said to me about a relationship. She said, you know what? We negotiate. We negotiate. And she's like, you look at it's a business partner, it's a relationship,
Mhm.
and
And you're in the business of life. You
so
are in the business of life.
yes, you are in a business of life,
And
and
there's
you're
an
also in a
admin
business
component.
of living with somebody and trying not to kill them.
And have them kill you.
Yes, yes,
Smother you to death while you're sleeping.
and like get through this thing that get through this thing like we're supposed to love each other, right?
Yes.
This is the reason why we're living together because we're supposed to love each other.
Right.
But she's like, we have unspoken contracts, so I like saying that than saying an obligation, or I
Mhm.
like duty. Like it's a duty.
Mm-hmm.
I've chosen to pick up this duty. It's not. I'm not obligated. I'm not
Mm.
obligated to make. I'm not. You're not obligated to make your husband dinner every night.
Mm-hmm.
It's a contract that you've. It's an agreement, and I think people, if we just stop and have these actual conversations with people. Hey, can we renegotiate? Like I picked up a second job or some blah blah
Mhm.
blah. I'm having trouble with this, with my other duties.
Yeah.
Is there something that we can we have a conversation and renegotiate? Like, can we just
Yeah. Or I need, in the next 3 months, I have X going on.
yes,
I'll need whatever.
yes,
And then I do think that there is that admin component to life that no one talks about. I read a great book. I'm trying to think of the name of it. Something about the dishes. I'm leaving you and it's the dishes or something like that.
I'm leaving you because of the dishes.
Or
Because you don't know
something.
how to load the dishwasher.
And I always think of that like argument about the dishwasher. Like we could argue about anything when we
Yes.
want to argue.
Yes.
There's nothing we won't argue about.
Right.
But it was a same-sex couple. And they were devastated at the failure of their marriage because they thought, being the same-sex couple, that they had an advantage over opposite-sex couples that got married because they thought they were the same. And then when they realized, the one who wrote the book said she didn't have an understanding about the administrative portion of life and how much that took in, and that her spouse didn't want to do it. So she felt like she was doing the admin work plus the regular work plus whatever. And she just felt burnt out, but she didn't understand that there was, because of the same-sex marriage, she was saying that we weren't playing roles. What ended up being traditional roles for opposite sex marriage, and then she was like, we still need roles within our same-sex marriages. And then she was so embarrassed because there is this sort of this sort of idea that, two women are better together. Two
Right.
guys are better together
Right.
because they're the same.
Right.
But same isn't always, you need compliments.
Right.
Because if you know a lot of same-sex couples, one of them does take on a more yin and one does take on a more yang, usually when they work out well and they're long-term. So even if you said, well, opposite-sex couples, there's a yin and a yang component to it.
Yes.
There's a masculine and a feminine component. You might not like those two terms, but there is a yielding and a giving and whatever other words you want to use. I like yin and yang
Yes.
because it doesn't have.
I like yin and yang. I actually saved a meme the other day, and it said that I was talking to Chris, and I just said, there's masculine energy and there's feminine energy. That's the balance of yin and yang. Take, for example, you don't have to be religious. Maybe we should do it after the break, but
At least start it.
so I read a meme and it said that men are the protector of the physical world and women are the protector of the spiritual world. Women are born with an intuitiveness, reading body language. I think it's part of our makeup and it's how we, safety is one of our main priorities, being safe. So we're always going to scan our surveillance. And I just said to him, what if that is yin and yang? And you don't even have to be religious, but you know the story of Adam and Eve. And God, took his rib, Adam's rib, and gave it to Eve. And so she is created. So say before the masculine and feminine energy were united,
Mm-hmm.
and he separated those to make two.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you have the female energy, Eve, and
Mhm.
Adam.
Mhm.
So just talking about it in a, in a
Broad
concept.
sense. Yeah, broad sense.
Yeah, I was trying to say, what's that word up here? In a broad sense. And just saying. So sometimes, religion it's not the word. It's a metaphor, or it's not a metaphor. It's the
Analogy?
yes. It's not quite the word.
No.
Like a parable. He's telling you a
Yes.
story and it has a meaning.
Mhm.
So what if it is male and female energy, and then when you get married, you have found your other half. You have
Right.
found your male energy, or you found your female energy.
And that's what I think this person was saying in this book, but she was talking about how life took on this administrative role that no one ever talked about, and that they didn't know how to navigate it in their marriage. So, and it's kind of talking about balance and workload and harmony and priorities. And in sometimes I think if you could be set up to fail. If you think just because you're the person who goes out to work outside the office that everything else becomes this other person's job, well, what if then the person who is doing, say, all of the things at the house, right? But there is a component of it still may not be equal or balanced. Right? That's not necessarily how life works. The juggling and the balancing is a difficult
Let's pick that
one.
up when we come back.
Okay, you are listening to Lisa and Robyn on the mic on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live. We will come back after these few announcements.